For number one, give at least 4 examples of federal agencies: the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, NASA Space Agency, IRS Tax Agency. Name 3 things that are only true in the House of Representatives. Members serve 2-year terms. They could only they can start tax bills, then can impeach the officials and start the process. 3 reasons why the War of Powers Act was passed, and the specifics of the act was passed after the Vietnam War. It limits the president's power to send troops without Congress approval, and they must tell Congress within 48 hours of sending troops, and they could only stay for 60 days unless Congress says it's okay. Why would people want to create limit terms in Congress? To stop people from being in power too long, to bring in new ideas, and to stop corruption or laziness. In order to override a presidential veto is a 2-3 vote in the House and in the Senate. Impeachment is when a president or another official is charged of wrongdoing. The House of Representatives votes to impeach and accuse, and the Senate holds a trial and votes to remove, and it needs 2/3 of a vote. Original jurisdiction is it means the court hears the case first, or not on appeal, and the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction, like state by state. Activism is judicial activism is judges make bold decisions or change laws. Judicial restraint is judges stick closely to what the law says. In order for someone to become a Supreme Court judge, the president picks someone and the Senate approves them. 3 reasons why it's difficult to implement laws in the president passed is because people don't agree with the law and they may follow the law differently, and it takes time. Criminal cases versus civil cases are criminal cases is when they break the law. Civil cases is when someone sues for another, so it's like on person. Several factors how the Supreme Court rules in any given case is the Constitution, the precedent, judges' own views, and the facts of the case. What branch of government is the Senate used for and why? The legislative branch, which is Congress, and it helps how many seats could get in the House of Representatives. What's a scorekeeper, watchdog, and a gatekeeper? A scorekeeper tracks who's winning in politics. Watchdog points out problems or scandals. Gatekeeper decides what the public sees. Why do voters rely on news coverage about their candidate? Their personality, how they speak, what they say about politics. For criticisms in the primary process takes too long, costs a lot of money. Some states like Iowa have too much influence and not a lot of votes in primaries. 17 is how has voter registration changed over the years? There's online registration, same day, and motor voter law registration, where you get a license. It needs to help more people vote. What kind of groups, like environment, labor, and business, and explain what they might be. Environmental, they protect nature. Labor, workers' rights and like pay unions. Businesses, lower taxes, fewer rules. Tactics lobbyists use to get their issues on the agenda. They meet with lawmakers, donate money to campaigns, write bills or laws for Congress to look at and try to get attention online. What are some ways for candidates for running in the primaries? They need a lot of money. They must travel all over the country, and they must stand out in the party and face tough questions. What are realities for candidates about running in the primary? PACs, which means political action committees, help candidates win, and they limit how much they can give and help interest groups candidates like. What do you know about the TV debate between JFK and Nixon? It was the first televised TV debate, and people who watch TV like JFK because he looked confident. People who listen to the radio thought Nixon won because he had better answers. So it's different. Opinion polls are criticized for being not always accurate. They could be biased. Reappointment is changing how many seats the House gets after each census, and it happens every 10 years. Butters! Shut up! Most news reports identify themselves as politically neutral because they don't really want to pick a side. They don't really want to pick a side. Or non-partisan. The father of media politics is Franklin D. Roosevelt. He used the radio to speak directly to Americans. What's the number that each state gets in the electoral college? Number of House of Representatives plus House of Senators. Like California has 52 reps plus 2 senators, which equals 54 votes. What's faith and full credit? States must respect each other's laws and records, like marriages and driver's license. Several cases between liberals and conservatives is liberals more help and support, like government programs and support social change. Conservatives, smaller government and support traditions and businesses. Supremacy clause is the highest constitution. The U.S. Constitution is the highest law of land. So that's the supremacy clause. Federal law beats state law if they conflict. The basis for separation of powers is the government split into 3 branches. Judicial review lets the court decide if a law is constitutional or not. The jobs of the branch of the government are legislative, which makes the laws; executive enforces the law; judicial interprets law. Examples of checks and balances are Congress could impeach the president can veto a law, and Supreme Court can strike down a law. How is the Articles of Federation and federal system of federal government different? Confederation states have the most power. Federal system is the power shared between the states and the national government. 14th Amendment gives citizen to all born in the U.S. and everyone must be treated equally, like equal protection. Major problems in the Article of Confederations is no power to tax, no strong army, hard to pass bills, and how many representatives does each state have in the U.S. Congress? It depends on the population. Every state has 2 senators. Representatives in the House may vary. Double jeopardy means you can't be put on trial twice. 5th Amendment is the right to remain silent, no double jeopardy due process, and the government must pay if they take your property. The exclusionary rule is evidence found illegally can't be used in court. It was established in Miranda v. Arizona. Police must tell you your rights, like your Miranda rights, when arresting you. What was the outcome of Schneck versus United States? Was it activism or restraint? Court said free speech could be limited during war. It was judicial restraint. What was the outcome of Nicole versus Maryland, and what was used to argue in this case? States can't tax federal banks. Use the supremacy clause. Said federal law is stronger than state law. What was the immediate effect on Brown versus Board? It ended segregation in public schools, allowing everyone to be together. What are some differences between the House and the Senate? House is 2-year term based on population and starts tax bills. Senate is 6-year terms, 2 per state, confirms judges. What are advantages of incumbents? Already known, easier to raise money. People trust experience. A clause is a small part of law or document. Map versus Ohio, it means evidence found illegally can't be used. It's the exclusionary rule. Establishment clause is the government can't try to set up or support a religion. Primary versus caucus. Primary is regular election. Caucus is a group meeting to pick a candidate. Formal powers of president: sign federal laws, command the military, make treaties, and appoint judges. What can the federal government regulate? Trade, tax, money, foreign affairs. Who helps the president draft his budget is the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. What is the best route for the U.S. To the Supreme Court? A case that works up through the courts on lower appeal. What do you need to try and argue for appeal? Try to show something unfair or wrong happened in the trial. 58. What do police need in order to obtain a warrant, a probable cause, and a good reason to search? So unless they think that he's a murderer, then he can't search. And if they just want to search it, then they can't search. Why is judicial review considered an informal amendment? It's not written in the Constitution, but the courts make it a big power. Okay, good luck, really, trust. You got that.